Good evening, dear viewers of Smart 24 TV, and once again we are happy to be here for a special program, The Point. And we are blessed as usual to be with special guests, and alongside we have Honorable Dennis Oneka, right? Yes, Amel, this is the Member of Parliament of Chitugum Municipality. And our colleague on the other side, he is Mr. Jogo Habib Asege. He is an educationalist and a politician. We are having a topic, which indeed is the point, looking at the current state of our economy. From time to time, we find it very pertinent as Ugandans to discuss on such very relevant matters that pertains on how we can live in a better lifestyle. And economics, business is always our drive as Smart TV. Our topic is, does the policy initiatives for post-COVID-19 recovery stabilize the Ugandan economy? I would like to bring to us a brief background before I welcome the guests. It is some 3 months ago when the economy was opened, and the president of this country, His Excellency the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, declared the economy open. Many Ugandans were excited. They say, now life is going to be better, not bitter, as it was the last 2 years, where all over the world, and specifically Uganda, our fellow citizens, men and women, both in urban centers and in rural areas, were all suffering the same scenario. And it is again around 1 month ago when we look at the state of the economy in terms of the wider perspective of production, demand, supply, and the well-being of our citizens, especially for easy access to the goods that are demanded in the market, of which in the process, as we know, the factors of production, the demand and the supply has failed to balance. And as a matter of fact, which indeed becomes a sign of inflation. Dear guests, you're welcome in this discussion. There are a number of key issues we'll look at, but before we go forward, the viewers are very excited and are waiting to hear from you. Your voice, the way you introduce yourselves maybe, and the greeting may be better than my own. You're welcome. Let's start from the other side, and then we take off.
Thank you very much, Joseph. First for inviting us here. I'll also first to extend my sincere gratitude to management of Smart TV. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time to be here, and I think viewers will enjoy it. Secondly, before I introduce myself, I want to join Ugandans and people of northern Uganda, where I belong, to mourn our fallen brother, the late former Speaker of Parliament, the Honorable Jacob Olanya. We've really lost a pillar. We've lost a pillar in West Nile that, in northern Uganda, that people of northern Uganda were riding on for political issues. He's not only a politician, he's also a parent and a leader. Regardless of political affiliation, for us, if it is a matter of blood, we are brothers. It is a matter of development, we are brothers. It is the issue of our land issues, we are brothers. Many things brings us together. Political difference is just belonging, but we remain the same. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and we pray that all goes well until we escort him to his eternal house. My name is Asega Habib Jogo. I come from West Nile, and I'm a member of the Justice Forum. I've just received an appointment from the just JEMA administration. I've been appointed the Vice President of Northern Uganda.
Well, congratulations.
And I think that is very great. As we are mourning our brother, we are trying to come out also to do something.
To build a strong nation.
Thank you. And I'm a teacher. I taught for quite a number of years, but I'm a retired one because things are not moving well in the classroom.
Teachers, they don't get tired.
We need to come and teach people out here in an open class.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome once again, Honorable. It's a pleasure to have you tonight. And fellow countrymen and women, they are very much interested to hear from you. You are a vibrant politician, but yet a leader. And I'm interested very much. I'm just, borrowing this 1 second to recall how you started a very serious revolution at Makerere University. Sure. And here you are. And I know that the country is still believing to hear from you. I appreciate your passion, especially for service. You're welcome once again, Honorable.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, permit me to give you a special thank.
Thank you, sir.
My comrade Joseph, Dr. Joseph.
Thank you, sir.
I also want to, on the same spirit, appreciate the management of Smart TV for this very important initiative, for bringing us on board as leaders of this country so that we discuss matters of national importance. I am Honorable Uneralate Dennis Amere. I'm a member of Parliament for Kitgum Municipality on FDC ticket. Though a time when we are talking about issues of importance, we do not very much issues of party issues, but we look at what should the citizen benefit.
That's right.
As part of the introduction, you have started some of them. I am a former guild president of Makerere University, a former national UNSA president, that is Uganda National Student Association, a former representative of East Africa to All Africa Student Union Congress in Accra, Ghana.
Yes, sir.
I worked briefly with Ministry of Gender.
That's what's great.
Before I resigned in 2015 to go and touch it out with my colleague, competitor, Beatrice Atimanya for Kitgum MPC.
Oh, you also another, I would say, an iron man, because that's an iron lady.
So, we can confirm that is briefly my introduction.
Yes, sir.
The rest, we shall go along. I think it is partly what we should begin with introduction.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Dear
viewers, I want, indeed, on behalf of Smart 24, as you know, we are part of what is going on, especially joining Ugandans to mourn for our foreign comrade and a great leader indeed. Our brother Jogo Asega has already said it, but yet I find it very much important to indeed once again join the family of the late former Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, Right Honorable Jacob Oranya. Losing him, indeed, we continue to mourn for such a great loss as a country. And we join also together with the family members and the NRM political party, which indeed he belongs to, and above all, the Ugandans. For all of us, he was the speaker, regardless of political differences or political divide, and above all, as a parent. So we join together, but we believe God will strengthen us. We shall go through this. That's life, and we continue to pray. May indeed his soul rest in eternal peace. Amen. So right away, as we go forward, there are many challenges we continue to go through as human beings, but at the stage where we are, we bring on this point. I'm a policy analyst expert. We come up with these discussions, especially for problem solving, looking at how we join together with the policy makers and the consultants across the board, and fellow Ugandans of indeed similar mind, the way of thinking, to look at how can we be able to take a firm step of providing a solution to what we have gone through. We thank God we are no longer very much worried and scared of COVID-19, but it has left effect. The effect has left to us. Still, we are human beings in the same way God has given us the grace to dominate, to rule, to know how we should come out with a number of solutions, and maybe challenges that we are facing can come to the end. There is no problem that can't stay. That's a belief we have. There is no problem that can't stay. Dear guests, here I have a report which was made and a statement by the Bank of Uganda, and it is drawn from as far as some year back on 6th April 2020. Professor the late also, may his soul rest in eternal peace, Professor Emmanuel Mutebire, the governor of Bank of Uganda, released a monetary policy statement whose major resolution to the COVID-19 pandemic was to cut the central bank rate, of which we always refer an abbreviation CBR, by 1 percentage point to 8%. That's part of, in his wisdom, what he recommended for the country. And the intention of this was to find out a solution, to provide a solution that could redirect the economic crisis of Uganda into the right path of recovery by the then time and post-recovery, post-COVID recovery period, of which we are in. And without wasting much of our time, we find that even when a number of initiatives, this was a fiscal policy that was proposed by the former governor of Bank of Uganda. And also, we are very pleased to be with you, Honorable. We know a number of other initiatives were approved, as policy initiatives were approved on parliamentary floor, especially proposed by the Minister of Finance, and which included allocating funds that were aiming to stimulate business. I remember one of the recommendations by the Minister of Finance was to strengthen, to channel the part of the funding, especially to help the business community through the Uganda Development Bank. Whereas all that was proposed, we look at by 2022, at the beginning of this year, the president was convinced to declare that our economy should be opened. And the reason was to ensure, to mitigate a number of economic challenges. Dear countrymen and women, viewers of Smart 24, it was a very sad moment. I just referred to as a very sad moment, where old and young, men and women were closed in a door, not ready to move, to travel here and there for economic purposes and all other reasons, and intending to grant them a social well-being. 2 years, then a break again, 2 years. Schools were closed. Initially, me, once again, really, I'm passionate on this. I say, we thank God for that opening. Our children were closed indoors at home. A number of issues happened. When we talk about the economy and the crisis, how maybe we can have a good recovery, we know that education was affected. We know very well the banking sector was affected. Trade, tourism was greatly affected. Agriculture was diversely affected. And one of the contributions, according to analysts, including myself, why we are facing a challenge in the market in terms of commodities, the commodities rising high, it is not salary that it is dependent upon COVID-19, but yet we are very much aware that it also contributes to the effect. A number of initiatives proposed to support the businessmen, to support agriculture, and also the government coming in with some other initiatives. It seems it has still left a gap. We do not know exactly what remains a propelling factor that is leading to the economic crisis we are going through. Yet, as Ugandans, we are interested, much as we have now finished that first terrifying stage of economic crisis, see how we can move forward. Dear guests, I would like to welcome Honorable in regard to this matter to discuss, and possibly we are happy our voice, the voice of the voiceless, and we look at maybe in the future what can be the recommendation to help us stabilize our economy.
Thank you very much, my brother, Dr. Joseph. I want to begin by sending my condolences to the family of the late Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. The death of Jacob Olanya has left Parliament shattered. It has killed the hope of some of us. We are yet recovering. Olanya, by all standards, when it comes to commanding parliamentary business, he was a man of class. He knew the law at his fingertips. His death is like the biblical story of Moses, who took the people but did not reach the promised land, gave it to another person. He won the election as a speaker but did not enjoy it. Now, that aside, when you come to economy of this country, after COVID-19, post-COVID-19, I want to categorically say that the economy of Uganda was already under pressure even before the COVID-19 came. It was already under pressure. So many things were not upright. Debts were overwhelming. Borrowing was continuously going ahead. Corruption was high. And some other prices of items were also high. So the coming of COVID-19 bolstered that pressure. It added more pressure on the economy of this country. In all sectors, first of all, on education, there's a lot of problem. Tourism, a lot of decline in the resources, in the funding. Tourism actually gives a lot of money in this country. But when there was COVID-19, when there was lockdown, when there was social distance, definitely the influx deteriorated and we lost a lot of resources. When you go to even these subsistent people, the commodities, let me say the local sellers, the businessmen lost a lot. In agriculture, we also lost a lot. So COVID-19 brought in more pressure on what was already there in the country. The GDP, you researchers, you did your research and you say the GDP before COVID-19 was at 6.8%, the growth. Then when COVID-19 came, it came down to 2.9%. Decline. Massive loss and decline. But above all that said, there are a lot of things that we as a country, as citizens of this country, we as people who love this country must have to take forward if we are to recover our economy or if we are to create some changes in the current situation in the country. One, we need to come with policies which are practicable. I know our country definitely, we have very good policy makers, we have very good policies, we put a lot of things on paper. When it comes to implementation, it is a problem. And that is why some people say good policies are made in Uganda but implemented in other countries. That is a big challenge that we have. So we need to bring on board practicable method and policies that can recover this economy ahead. Let me cite an example. There are certain things that we as members of parliament, we became casualties of criticism because we accepted them to pass to the public, to be sent to the citizens, like the Miyoga. It was not properly analyzed. People are not benefiting much on it. Now come back to the current Paris development model. It is a good system. When you read the guideline thoroughly well, it is a good system. But like the other time I made a proposal in Morning Breeze, that why can't we sector region by region this Paris development model? Because if you pick this 100 million and give to a Paris, chances are very high that the most vulnerable person that should have been supported will not benefit much. Because they will not have the capacity and the brain to make that small money productive and support their welfare very well, or the economy, to raise the economy. And when you read the Paris development model critically, you realize that one of the goals is to uplift people from subsistence economy to a money economy within 5 years. It is
subsistence economy to
the
a
money
to the money economy
within 5 years.
There are some people want to know that what does it involve to be a subsistence economy and then the money economy? If you may share
the small, actually people who are below, let me say people who are at poverty level, people who are surviving on the day on, you get, let me say from hand to mouth. People who are surviving on small scale farming.
You understand?
You get it? Eh?
Yes, sir.
So that is subsistent. Going to the money economy, the business, the society, people who can have the potential and the muscle to do business, to have at least constant resources at their disposal for the basic needs and also for school fees and all these other things, to make it a bit simple.
Okay.
But now, when you look at, I'm giving an example,
yes,
like on the Paris development model. When you look at this Paris development model, it's a very good program. But its implementation might not bring much effect, might not bring much impact in a society. Looking at various programs that came before, Ntandikwa, the Operation Well Creation, those one that NUSAF, Northern Uganda Social Action Fund. So this Paris development model, if we are to use it as one of the activities that should bolster, that should uplift, that should make the country regain its economy, we need, in my own view, to sector it, to make it a regional base. For example, for us at the north, in northern Uganda, we have the land. Agriculture is very good, suitable for us.
Yes.
Now, why can't we say this particular amount of money, 100 million per Paris, we as leaders of northern Uganda, political leaders of northern Uganda, we sit down and we see how much do we have in our coffers as far as this Paris development model is concerned. And what is our landscape, geographical atmosphere and location tells. What can we do best? For us is agriculture. So can we get some 1 or 2 tractor for this Paris and that Paris, so that people make their land, tractors goes there and cultivate for them, so that we uplift them uniformly.
Yes, Honorable, I have a question for you or your commentary in that regard. The nation is aware, especially those who normally follow up what has been happening in the economy, and especially a number of programs apart from the parish model that have been initiated and implemented in northern Uganda, a number of programs since the effect of the war, and also other programs which were aiming to bring regional balance.
The NUSAF program?
The NUSAF programs and others.
NUSAF 1, NUSAF 2.
And these programs are expected to have a bit, maybe bridge the difference or answer the part of the question of distributing or availing the national resources to some regions, including northern Uganda, to where we are. And depending on the policy initiative that we are talking about in Parliament, that includes the stimulus package to traders and others, including there was a plan, I remember when I was analyzing with the situation of even the policy initiative to support the education sector. So as you is in Parliament, Do you think some of the approved, because the budget, as Honorable Matsia
The budget framework.
Kaseija, continue to assure the country, much as we had a challenge, that we are going to do better? What is your view over that?
I think the most critical thing is, first of all, to be honest to ourselves. As leaders of this country, as legislators, we ought to be very honest to ourselves and do things in the interest of helping the real people who should benefit from it. What, like I said before, that we have policies which are very good. Practically, when we come to implementation, become an issue.
Yes, please.
The most important thing that I see that we as a country need first to agree on is to avoid waste.
Waste
Waste in terms of allocating resources in sectors that does not match a mind.
that does not contribute to productivity.
To productivity, exactly.
That's right.
You get it. We need to see which sector contribute to the economy of the country directly, to the growth and development. For example, 2 weeks ago, we were in for a Presidential Affairs Committee discussion. A lot of projects were brought on board, and the people managing them, including the Kenya EV, this one of making a vehicle. Now, I asked a question that does Uganda has the potential of manufacturing a car right now? We should be honest to us. We can assemble, but do we have the potential of manufacturing? And what is the cost implication if you talk about actually assembly alone? Will the cost even actually supersede the buying of a bus from outside? The importation of vehicle from out? Now, if we know that this is a long-term project and yet the economy is sinking, why can we recover the economy first? By doing simple projects that can help the country first. Then this other big one is good. As a country, we have the pride.
Macro production versus micro.
Micro and macro.
Yes,
macro.
sir.
You get it?
Yes, sir.
So we need to look at micro first of all. We need to look at our GDP. Does our economy support these big scale projects at the moment? Then we turn accordingly. We look at what can suit our economy at the moment so that we move with it, so that the debt burden, the borrowing burden is carved down a bit. We are going at the red line now. We are getting above the red line of the borrowing. Now, that is the same thing we want to talk about. So we need to actually restructure our economy in the level whereby we first think of the micro-based economic policies that can support this economy if we are to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic effect.
Thank you so much.
Since COVID came on the 27th of March, the year 2020, cases of COVID-19 infection were 36,900, something of the kind.
Yes.
Death, 320.
Yes.
Persons died. Now, when you look at the effects, the aftermath is actually too much. Many people lost their jobs because of COVID-19.
Unemployment.
Many businesses has been closed because of rent. They could not manage to cope up with rent because of paying arrears that has accumulated for the last 6 or 1 year. So when you look at all this kind of thing, these people need to be supported so that they go back into their business. Now that takes us back to micro economy. Microeconomic policies that should be put in place. I really agree and appreciate the thinking of our former governor, Bank of Uganda, the late Mutabile, professor.
Yes, please.
The percentage that he brought on board.
Yes,
but that is also not enough.
It was a fiscal measure. In his capacity, also he brought in his input. Fiscal measure.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you look at that, that is also very important because as business society, I'm a businessman myself. I always tell my colleagues, members of parliament and many politicians that politics without business is a comedy. Total comedy. For you to stand straight, you need, beside political office, have also your side granary where you can harvest from, so that politics does not become a do or die. So politics without business is a total comedy. I always tell people that it is very critical for this country to have our bank. You know, one of the major the problem that we have in this country is most of the banking institutions are foreign banks, not organic, not original.
They're not there. Yes.
We used to have the Greenland that has.
Uganda Commercial Bank.
Uganda.
Scraps.
You get it. So that is a problem. So most of the money that these people collect from us, from the interest, the interest rate is very high. The borrowing, the interest rate that we pay is too high. Our business community cannot compete with this Chinese person who come from China and borrowed at 1% in 5 years. For us, we are borrowing at 11% or 15%. It's not competitive.
Honorable, I'm appreciating your submission, and even the viewers, the points being put forward are very clear. The available resources which the country would have used to engage in production, there has been a challenge of waste. And the wastage he referred to, one, he refers it to the misallocation. Where do we put our meager resources as a country, even when we go into borrowing? That was one of his the point pushed.
And also corruption.
And again, also you've talked about corruption, the misuse of funds. And again, it is very known to us on record. During the time of COVID, and as a measure for post-COVID recovery, we're able to both borrow funds as a country, and also there are those who gave in donations.
The World Bank also gave in, is it US dollars?
Yes.
300 million.
Yes, but the question I'm putting forward, and which please, you know me, I got you today on behalf of the viewers, you are the voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.
Is it possible to do, if at all it has been not done, to do a monitoring of the implementation of the fiscal policy, especially regulating banks, not to harass our people who had borrowed during the time of COVID? Because there is, by the way, there is a serious outcry there. People are, it's not well. The kind of emotional torture because of the high interest rate, and yet the Bank of Uganda had regulated. Is there anything that has been done either to enforce, to ensure what the Bank of Uganda advised to regulate these different banks? Because most of these commercial banks, as you are saying, they are foreigners, based on foreigners in terms of ownership. They have not taken up even that initiative. What exactly has been done or may be likely to happen? Because we are in the dark.
True. Let me, beside that, I'm going to answer that. I want to give you another example of fear. The hiking, the fuel price increment. The prices for fuel actually shoot up high. We were told there is a strike. Trailers were actually parked on the road. Many kilometers. Because of the testing amount of money, the $30 amount of money for testing. This COVID-19 thing. So that strike came up, and now the price shoot up, and it has remained there. As Parliament, we sat, and we agreed that these fuel owners, these fuel station owners, must have to regulate their prices, must have to come down. We talked about that, it was not implemented. I remember the Deputy Speaker of Parliament actually talked to the Prime Minister to write letters to all these fuel station owners to tell them at least to cut down their prices to a bare minimum, which is understandable. Now, when you come to bank, of course, people are shocking in loan. People has borrowed loan before COVID-19, even after COVID-19, they have borrowed loan. Now, those who borrowed loan before COVID-19, the discussion we had in Parliament was about how can we really give that kind of some, how do you call it? Is it some leave? There's an economic term you use. Some leave. You give that particular person who has borrowed money from the bank some period of time as EOC prepares to pay back the loan. That is one. The same thing we also talk about on people who are renting. These people
Those who are
own
renting.
houses.
Yes.
You get it? That one, the implementation, it is always, not very clear.
The implementation not yet done, and our people are crying out there.
Exactly.
We continue to appeal to you. Please take it up as we go through this program, dear viewers. Our intention is to look at how we can come out of this, the state of crisis and recovery. And we are with Honorable. Thank you for your contribution as we are about to welcome Mr. Asege. We are here to bring all this opportunity, to utilize this opportunity with us, especially with how best we can be able to improve on the state of our economy. Mr. Asega, please, we welcome you for some few minutes. You will take us on in the second hour, but you will utilize some 3 minutes and then we'll go for a break. You will take it up from there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tindeba. First of all, I want to appreciate the remarks given by Honorable Onekalit. It has been very elaborate. First of all, the issue of economic crisis in Uganda is a global effect. Why? Because I'm going to look at it at economic point of view. The issue of Uganda's crisis economically, it is both global and ours here. COVID-19 did not affect only Uganda. It affected almost the whole world. But what happened? Aware that Uganda, we are so much dependent on 90% of what we consume in Uganda, the dresses, apart from maybe food,
the
but
garments,
some
the
other
textile,
foods,
yes.
even shoes and what we use, majority of 90% of what we use in Uganda is imported. And what happened is that during COVID-19, there was lockdown all over those major production countries. And as a result, those big production companies reduced workers. They reduced their workers, and when workers are reduced, that means production, the amount of production is also regulated, it's also reduced. They only produce to maintain the existence of their production company. When you look at other companies and in other countries, others closed down.
Mr. Osega, I have this good question for you. We have just finished to congratulate you as the Deputy President of JEMA. And dear viewers, those who don't know the JEMA political party, it is represented in the Parliament of Uganda. And with this, they have some of their policy initiatives too that they could give as alternative. I believe during the last either election and even of now as your policy documents of the party, because you are a member, you must be knowing your policies. In either 1 or 2 minutes, what exactly, after analyzing the challenges you've already shared with us, what did you recommend as JEMA to bring either, easy recovery, quick recovery from this COVID-19
thank you very much. I wanted to look at it at a broader perspective.
You will just answer it briefly, then we can go for break straight out.
Yes,
in 1 minute.
Because you just cut me just on the introduction of my presentation.
Yes.
I will, if you don't mind, because these are part of the measures.
You will continue, no problem.
Measures that we shall give later on.
Yes, please.
But in this very segment, allow me finish up that part that I was trying to say that many production companies closed down, reduced their workers, and production remained down. What did that affect? What did that lead to? Our people, most people who are jobless, who were earning, were not earning. Now, anything that that deals with economics deals in two things. Economics crisis comes or improve on two things: forces of demand and supply. If demand is more than supply, we have crisis. And if we have more supply than demand,
is it the reason
then
why the commodities prices are
absolutely, absolutely. Why? Because the production to the market in Uganda, because Uganda is landlocked, we don't produce for ourselves. We only improve on what other people have produced. I've given you an example. Let me give you an example. I'm taking coffee, but we grow coffee in Uganda, but coffee is manufactured in Dubai, and we take it
coffee
here.
Coffee is manufactured in Dubai.
In Dubai.
Are we not producing coffee in Uganda?
We are growing coffee in Uganda.
Yes.
Honorable, you can bear witness with me. But we don't have coffee value addition coffee factory. We are taking Nescafe. Nescafe is produced from where? It's not in Uganda. So what does that mean? It means a lot. So I'm trying to say that forces of demand, the demand currently in Uganda is more.
The demand for commodities.
The commodity has grown high. Why? People have lost a job, and those who have money are few, and their demands. No, it is actually their demand is they are demanding, but they don't have what? Access.
They cannot consume.
They cannot consume. Okay, they can't consume
because they don't have money.
They don't have money, but you demand.
Yes.
You see now.
Yes.
Once it's brought in market, it will not go away. So what the people have to do? What the production companies are doing, they are only now producing fewer for only few consumption. You get it? Now, what does that mean? Once a product is very few in the market, then the price has to go high. You get it?
Yes.
The price has to go high.
Thank you. We want to appreciate your submission. It's a very rich one in a short notice, but yet direct to the point. And dear viewers, we will next time, in the next round, is continuing from there. But we want to hear a voice that is encouraging our people of West Nile that produced more coffee, because we are talking of low levels of production. And we will now want to know what exactly is happening in Acholi in terms of productivity. What is happening in Kigezi? What's happening in Kitugum? Because we want to see the production chain increasing higher and taking note of what you've talked about, value addition. Dear viewers, we will again continue with you in our discussion. Smart television is the best. Wait for us in the second hour or session of our discussion, and we'll enjoy a lot from our discussion. Thank you so much.
Smart 24, driving business.